Hola. Vale, debería estar ya todo configurado. Hola chicos, bienvenidos. Oh, un momento. Ahí está, perfecto. Mm, ok. ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Qué tal estáis chicos? Bienvenidos al directo de hoy. Tenía muchísimas ganas de jugar a este juego. Y hoy no puedo resistirme y he dicho, voy a comprármelo. Quiero jugarlo en directo. Hoy he abierto el juego para configurarlo. Y resulta que justo en la pantalla de carga hay como varias cositas que debería de verlas en directo porque, bueno, son cositas interesantes. Así que he restablecido todos los datos del juego. Creo que no me va a tocar configurar nada, de nuevo, espero. Y ya está, vamos a empezar. Me dejan estar más tarde por vacaciones. Nice. Oh, me acaba de crashear el juego, maravilloso. Empezamos bien. Un momento, ¿es en serio que ya no funciona con Source Engine? ¿Ya no está hecho con Source Engine este juego? Un momento, eso quiero informarme. Stanley, Parado, Ultra Deluxe. Ah, sí que el original estaba hecho en Source Engine. Pero este remake, o remake entre comillas, no sé. Por la ventanita de error que ha salido parecía de Unity. ¿Elige idioma? Bueno, este está seleccionado. ¿Jugaste Stanley Parable alguna vez? Sí. ¿Te gusta la barra deslizante? Ah, lo voy a dejar así. La hora actual, 10:30. 10:27, para ser exactos. ¿Vale? No, te puedes acceder a la configuración de accesibilidad desde el menú principal. ¿Vale? ¿Entendido? Bueno, a ver, tampoco he cambiado mucha cosa, realmente. Nada, está todo bien. Es la palabra de Stanley, en efecto. Ordenador es un ordenador, es un ordenador. Yes. ¿Qué? ¿Cómo? ¿Qué pasa, Crystal? Bienvenido. ¿Cómo estás? Vamos a empezar este juego ya. Duda seria, ¿qué pasa?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Vale, los subtítulos están bien.
Stanley worked
Duda seria, no, ya no, ¿qué pasa? Bueno.
for a company in a big building where
Se pueden... ¿Los subtítulos los veis bien? Lo digo porque no voy a estar leyendo lo que pone, ya... Lo gracioso de este juego es el narrador. Iniciar juego del ordenador. No, creo que eso no se puede.
he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders
¿No es el mismo narrador de la intro de la Isaac? Se parece un montón, ¿no?
came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Isaac and his Isaac.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company.
A ver, este juego me lo conozco, ¿eh? A ver, no todo, me conozco algunas cositas, pero me lo jugué hace un montón de tiempo. Me jugué cuando salió el original, que era un mod para Half-Life 2. Después me jugué también un poco el remake. No sé si llegué a sacarme todos los endings. Y este es otro remake más que han sacado. Que este creo que está hecho en Unity, no estoy seguro. Hola, Fernie, bienvenido. ¿Cómo estás?
Had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid.
De hecho, voy a verificar algo. He buscado por Google si este juego estaba hecho en Unity. Pero creo que hay una forma mejor de verificarlo. Ver archivos locales. Unity, está hecho en Unity, no me jodas. Han pasado de Source a Unity. Oh no.
Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh, vale, puedo mover ya. Bueno. El ordenador no me deja hacer nada.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Unity, ¿algún problema conmigo? Sí, muchos. Recuerdo que hay un easter egg. Creo que era aquí.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map.
Es de lo poco que me acuerdo de este juego.
And realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place?
Sí, es un lugar muy divertido.
Take a minute just to drink it all in. Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag here?
Oh. Oh, está en español y todo. Está casado el chiste. ¿Sí o no? Un poco.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game.
Eso es cierto. Eso es cierto.
Now, you could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to answer your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
No, música no, que tiene copyright. ¿O no?
There once was a man named...
¡No! Ya está. Me encanta este juego. ¿La hora está bien puesta? ¡Ah! No, no lo está. Ah.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Y esto? Ya no es hidratación. ¡Oh, cierto! Agüita. ¿Me he dejado algo?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Vale, sí, supongo que seguiré. Oh, no, han tirado una taza. No sé qué pone. I hate Mondays, yo también. ¿Qué pone ahí? No, pone no. Tú eres inteligente y yo leí colegas. ¿Cómo? Gea un riga una pregunta para cuidar aquí. ¿La taza no se ha roto? Buena pregunta. No, vaya. No. Vamos por la izquierda, supongo. Hay una caja amarilla. Bastante llamativa, de hecho.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Do not alter without consulting.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
¿Qué? Ok. ¿Alguna referencia o algo por aquí arriba? No, quiero subir. ¡Déjame subir! Ahí está. ¿Qué hay por aquí? ¿Por qué hay una pistola? Una pistola dibujada. Los stonks. Monetizar free to play. ¡No! ¿Por qué haríais eso? Stanley, el par de bolas. Yes. ¿Qué es lo que quiere? ¡Plant Life! Yo, digo. A ver, ¿qué es lo que quiere la gente? Cosas. Happy. Sentirse feliz. Y está tachado. Dinero, más dinero. Cosas. Pero con dinero para comprar más cosas. Gráficos. Gráficos sobre cosas y más dinero. Vaya. Yo en la vida quiero un futuro bonito. Yes. Todo el mundo es único. Ok. Bueno, vámonos de aquí. Broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No. Era escoba.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Hola, Leon. Bienvenido. ¿Cómo estás?
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Sí. ¿Te imaginas hacer algo?
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Sí.
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
No, no te voy a dar ninguna explicación. Me gusta la escoba, ¿vale?
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Bueno. ¿Y qué tal está el día, chicos?
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet closet ending was my favorite. Friends find this concerning.
El Broom Closet Ending es mi favorito. ¿Ya está?
Stanley was
Ahora.
fat and ugly and really stupid.
¡No!
He only got the job because of a
¿Por qué me ha
friend.
dicho eso?
That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
¡No! ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué dice eso? Eso no lo decía en el original.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Oh.
You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure
Aún saliste del closet. No, no he salido todavía.
before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby?
Drugs and hookers.
Is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Smooth Brain. Vale, ¿ha dejado de hablar el señor? ¿O todavía no? ¿De qué trata el juego? Trata de... Hay un narrador que va contando una historia, pero tú puedes tomar decisiones. Y las decisiones puede que le molesten al narrador, o puede que no. Bueno, creo que no dice nada más. Vamos a salir de aquí.
Second player, it's good to have you on board.
Cool.
I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before.
¿Cómo que segundo jugador?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vamos para arriba. Que por cierto, todo esto son assets del Source Engine. No sé qué tanto permiso tendrán para usarlos aquí. Cuarto de baño ejecutivo. Oh. Dinero en la mañana, dinero en el mediodía. Dinero para desayunar. Money Crisp. Esta plata definitivamente es del Source Engine. No, no creo que puedan usarla aquí. ¿What? ¿Por qué se ha cerrado? Ah, ok. Oh, esto es nuevo. Creo. ¡No! ¡No le disparas al panda! ¿Por qué harías eso?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Parece como que puedo interactuar con esto, pero no hace nada. ¿Qué número ha dicho?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2, 8, 4, 5. 5. Ahí está.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code.
Oh no, ¿qué ha pasado?
Sheer luck.
Ah, vale.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Qué creepy. Qué creepy, ¿no? ¿Pantalla de carga? No puede ser.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Qué creepy esta zona, ¿no? Coño. Ni que fuera Half-Life. Bueno, a ver, el original estaba basado en Half-Life. Escape. ¿Me quiero escapar? No, voy a hacerle caso de momento al señor.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Coño. Uy, que me puedo tirar.
Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Que me puedo tirar, no, gracias.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
Tírate por ahí, por favor. No. Me tiro. Ay, venga. Me tiro. Un momento. Ah, bueno. Oh.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go.
Vaya.
New content.
Nuevo contenido, sí, contenido nuevo.
The mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more.
Sí, más contenido.
I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a
De nada por enseñarte este final. A ver, me lo imaginaba realmente.
You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's special.
Soy especial.
We call this track Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
¡Oh! Musicote.
Good job. You did it.
Bueno, voy a mirar Twitter.
3, 2, 1. Good job. You made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful.
Ahora sales y entras.
Should have been careful.
No puedes saltar, consigue tu primer logro. ¡Oh! Me han dado un logro por conseguir mi primer logro. Increíble.
I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams.
No puedes saltar. No, en serio, desactivamos la opción.
Good job, you did it. Good job, you did it. Good job, you did it. Good job, you did it.
Oh, Dios, hay un montón de...
Good job, you did it. Good job.
Bueno, no hay muchos logros, pero son extraños.
Good job, you did it. Good job, you did it.
Juega a Stanley Parable durante todo un martes. ¿Por qué haría eso? ¡Ah! No, se ha reiniciado el juego. Bueno, esto. Completa Stanley Parable en menos de 4 minutos y 22 segundos. Hash mundial de la configuración. Configura todas las barras deslizantes del menú en todos los números disponibles. ¿Cómo? Ve a pisar el césped. No juegues Stanley Parado durante 10 años. Dios mío. Hola de nuevo, sal del juego y vuelve a empezarlo. ¿Ah? Descripción de... Logro de prueba, ignóralo. Descripción de los logros de prueba. Sustituye esto. Ah, bueno. Ya también un logro por hacer esto.
What could it mean? Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No.
Me encanta como llevo media horita que no me he pasado el juego, que es cortísimo, por cierto.
Measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort.
En 3 segundos no me das el logro. No, seguramente no.
Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
10 años, no creo. No creo que me den el logro haciendo eso.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see
Pero señor, dame el logro.
Stanley. I want to see commitment.
Solo quiero un logro.
No matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Vaya. 417. ¿Dónde está eso? Ready de return of a bucket. Yes.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
¿37? ¿Dónde está la 37? Vale, aquí no es. $4.20, nice. Wait, what? Go back? I want to be monkey? Porque hay una B. Porque hay B. Bueno. ¿Estás obedeciendo al narrador? Sinceramente no sé lo que estoy haciendo ya. Behind the door? Which door? This one? Oh, this one.
Excellent.
Caída.
I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Ok. La 15, ¿dónde está la 15? Aquí.
Now, back to door number 437.
Señor, stop. Me están mareando. Suena bonito.
How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
¿Esto?
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting...
Señor. No.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
¿Qué?
Yes, this is great. You're
Sí.
on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
Sí. No sé dónde está, pero sí. Aquí.
We've almost got it. Now the copy machine. Do that one again.
Voy, no puedo correr más deprisa. No sé qué es eso. You're doomed. Nah, I'm not.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 clicks on door 430. Yeah!
¡Sí! ¡Me han dado el logro!
Oh, wow. That felt amazing.
Increíble.
Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
You didn't just found a bucket? No, not yet.
When Stanley came to a set of
Vamos por aquí.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vale. Vamos a seguir el narrador.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
You can't
office.
open console, right? I don't think so. This game is not in Source Engine anymore. It's Unity. I got a feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. That's lovely purse. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again
Queso.
stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Está en el parabolas.
Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk.
8, 4,
What could its
5.
purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the
Ah, pues sí.
Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
Sí.
Kind of anxiety isn't healthy.
No, 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 no es saludable. No es para nada saludable.
With some calming new age music,
Legend, ¿cómo estás? ¡Ah! Música. Throw your shell out the window. Let's see what happened. Ya lo hice.
feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
No, I'm not stuck. Vámonos. Tengo un par de favorito. Oh, no.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control.
Mind Control. Por supuesto.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
Ah,
Stanley thought to himself.
estos son muchos números.
The strength to find out.
You don't even want to escape? I have no idea. I'm just trying stuff.
Now,
I have played the original game, so
nature
please don't spoil anything.
the number of
Just
members
let me play on my own, please.
Stanley's co-workers.
Primero deja a Nico hablar de mi brazo. Oh, no, otra vez no. No, otra vez no.
And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
¿Un elevador?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
I played the original, but not this one yet.
This time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Vámonos.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Never.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
El juego está jugando 2013-2014. Sí, por esa fecha más o menos.
Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the
¿Qué es esto?
controls once and for all.
Es en 2013, ni me acuerdo. Tiene un montón de tiempo ya este juego. El original tiene un montón de tiempo. El original era un mod de Half-Life 2. Después lo sacaron como juego standalone. 5. Ya sabéis lo que rima con eso, chicos. sacaron como juego standalone, hecho en el Source Engine de nuevo. Y ahora han sacado como otro juego standalone, hecho en Unity. Uno. Dos. Yo recuerdo que vi un gameplay en 2015. Puede ser. Hay un código ahí arriba. 0142. Es lo mismo de ahí.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the control, did you?
¿No?
Kept you enslaved all these years. You
Yo no fui.
try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Stanley,
Yo no fui.
I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do.
Yo no he sido.
You were supposed to let it go.
Yo-
Turn
no.
the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation
¿Qué?
system. In the
¿Por
event
qué?
the machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
Oh.
How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes.
Oh.
Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are a star. It's
Coño, gato.
Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it.
¿Qué es esto? ¿Por qué hay tantos botones que brillan?
Goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is.
Te recuerdo sobre arañas. ¿Qué pasa con las arañas?
About me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Hay algo.
You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
No sé, señor. Deje de hablar.
I'm gonna die.
Quizá.
I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing
He hecho algo.
buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
3. Tengo que buscar el 3.
Times, I let
¿Era el de
the
arriba?
sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp.
¿Qué digo de Fire? Sí, sí, lo sé.
This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense
No, ese era el 4.
and take back the control
El 3 estaba ahí.
away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go,
Señor, ¿por qué no se calla?
even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left.
What?
I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on...
Eso es Brimstone.
Oh dear me, what's the matter,
Eh.
Stanley? Is it that you have
No!
idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
¿Has oído el temporizador?
Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stan?
Poner giro a ver tantas pendejas como ese alrededor.
One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
No.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch
F6.
every moment that you're powerless. To see you made...
F6 no hace nada.
This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control.
¿Qué tengo que hacer?
Fine, but I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
Oh, no.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30
Oh, no.
seconds until a big boom and then nothing.
Oh, no.
No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will
No.
be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment
No.
I say happily ever after.
Vaya. Creo que he muerto. Sí, he muerto.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under
Es
his
Priatito.
responsibility?
Eso soy yo.
He had never been
Creo.
trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley
Salada.
waited.
Soy yo.
Hours passed, then days.
No.
Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if
¿Qué cojones?
would come, eventually, someday,
¿Qué coño? ¿Discord? Eso ha sido Discord, ¿por qué? Oh, vale, por el modo fiesta, este es raro. Vale, va fuera. Qué puto susto me ha dado el modo fiesta de mierda. Ok. Modo fiesta de Discord Jumpscare, sí, sí. Alguien me ha mencionado y me ha dado un puto logro por ello. Tremendo susto. Bueno. ¿Quién ha sido todo esto? No sé quién es. Ah, vale. Ya lo veo. ¿Cuántos finales F llevas? No estoy seguro, sinceramente. Había un final que te decía los finales que habías hecho, pero no me acuerdo.
they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Here it come. ¡Eh! Ah. ¿Qué ha pasado aquí?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Por qué ha cambiado el pasillo ese inicial?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his
Me asustó a mí también.
To a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets.
¡Oh, vale!
Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
No tengo que hacerlo, increíble. Qué majo el narrador. A ver, eso. Ok, que aproveche. Por el pollo y Lorenza están los dos. Tremendo jumpscare, me ha pegado Discord.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ah, tengo que hacer todo esto otra vez.
The lights rose on an enormous
Que sí, que me dejes pasar.
screens. What horrible secret
Después de
this
explotarte.
place?
Sí.
Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jump to life. Their true nature
Uy,
revealed.
tengo que beber agua.
Bore the number
Era una plantita.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe
What
it
the?
couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
¿Dónde está el 69? Sí, ahí está. ¿Y el 420? Ahí está. Oh, no tiene nada especial. Qué triste.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control.
Tiene 420.
It was unthinkable. Wasn't it?
Unthinkable.
Was it even possible?
Me tengo que informar si realmente el narrador es el mismo del Isaac.
Blind to the world. But here was the
Creo que no. O quizás sí, no lo sé.
Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began,
Para adelante lo encendí. Ahora voy a apagarlo.
decided that this machinery would never again exert its
Y ya está. Haz un buen día.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet,
La libertad.
the immense door slowly opened. Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
¿Dónde está el panel que había aquí?
His co-workers gone. How had he been
El cielo.
freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do,
Hay una casa.
to feel.
Ahí al fondo se ve un puente, hay montañas.
It will be,
¡Oh, Dios!
and that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only
¡Qué bonito!
worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now,
Tendría que Stanley se fue al campo con sus parabolas.
and Stanley was
Es
happy.
happy. Flashback. Flashbang, quiero decir. He mandado el logro. Termino el juego. Vale.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his
¿Cómo?
life.
¿Y ese diálogo? Está en la casa del juego. Ok. Contenido nuevo.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Un momento. Antes de seguir por aquí. ¿Qué hay por ahí? Oh, vale, es esta habitación. Contenido nuevo. Uy, ¿qué hay por aquí? ¿Esto qué es Half-Life? Oh, no. ¿Esto es Half-Life?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013
2013 salió.
on home computers.
Vale.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Puto Half-Life.
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Tremenda puerta, ¿eh?
Sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Yo también. Tengo ganas de ver qué hay de nuevo.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm
Nada todavía. Hasta con la palanca.
a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or oh.
Oh, vale, se mueve.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more
Sí.
Let's do it.
Tremendo ascensor, ¿eh? Súper nuevo y tal.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Dame el contenido, Stanley. What?
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
¡Se puede saltar! Oh. Increíble. Un círculo en el que puedes saltar. ¡No! He gastado mis saltos.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Eso espero.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this are very positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours.
Give me the content, Stanley.
Right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good.
There's more.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
¿Qué hay por aquí? Oh.
That's it? Oh, you've got
Gracias
to
por
be kidding me.
disfrutar del nuevo contenido.
This is what happens when greedy
Vaya.
video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended. I intend to find these people on Twitter.
Esta persona en Twitter le voy a hacer personalmente responsables.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anger.
A esta señora le gusta mucho romper la cuarta pared, me encanta.
It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game?
¿Y ya está?
Try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
¡Ah! El narrador funador en Twitter. Funador en Twitter. ¡Eh! Esto es nuevo. También. ¿Qué es esto? Nuevo contenido, gracias por jugar la versión.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Vale. Half-Life. ¿De nuevo?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
La salida del Stanley Parable original en PC.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was
romper la cuarta pared, pero no me rompe la
re-released?
cuarta. ¿Qué? ¿Caída no?
2013, when the game originally launched. Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Es la antigua página de Steam. Pero antigua. Qué buenos recuerdos. What? Stanley Parable. Collector's Edition. Caído por Dios que hay menores delante. Good Times. Mozilla Firefox. ¿Por qué se quieren culiar una voz? No sé. Nuestro primer beso, nuestro primer coche, la salida de Stanley Parable en 2013. 2013. Increíble. Stanley Parable Alpha Test. Porque hay un disco. Música de Stanley Parable. $1, porque sí. Es imposible conseguir este logro. No jugué durante 5 años. Estos son los originales del juego original, ¿eh? Creo que he dicho que es lo suficientemente nástico para que me guste eso. Como para que no me guste eso. Dios mío. Oh, ese es uno de los endings de... que te encuentras muerto en la calle. En memoria del pequeño Stanley. Oh, es una ratita. Un ratoncito. ¿Quién está tocando el piano?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable...
Recuerdo de Stanley, algo así. Como se nota que le tienen cariño a este juego, ¿eh?
Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game
es hora de cenar. Ok, que aproveche.
Grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim.
Skyrim, Persona 3.
It was all of them.
¿Cómo?
Now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now.
No.
A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Oh, Dios. La foto de la derecha, esa pequeñita, es del primer remake. Y de la izquierda es... La foto grande es del juego original, el de 2013, cuando era un mod. Minecraft. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué está Minecraft aquí? Increíble. Esto era de original. Bueno, del remaster, ese primero que sacaron. Esto también, del Portal. Y de hecho el Minecraft también. La foto esa del Minecraft. Que por aquí abajo. Memory Zone, ok. No sé qué son estos papeles. Debería de... No creo que se puedan leer siquiera. Bueno. Oh no, Hammer. Sensibilidad de persona 3. Nah. ¿Y ese coche?
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
GameSpot.
Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
¿Y esa bici?
Anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Se está poniendo demasiado... emotivo este juego. ¿No puedo pasar por aquí? La sala seria 2013. ¿No puedo pasar? ¿Hay un problema? ¿Ayuda? ¿Qué tengo que hacer? ¿Qué hago? Para atrás, cierto. Sí, porque por ahí parece que no se puede ir de ninguna forma.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Esta máquina es del Source Engine. Ni siquiera del Stanley Parable, es del Source Engine. Está en Half-Life 2, creo.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor.
No.
I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Volví. Hola, Nico.
Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable.
Oh, no.
It's already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights.
Estamos literalmente en el dumpster de reviews de Steam. Las reviews de vapor, no. Uy, tengo que ir. Ok. Buenas noches.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While Well, the idea for the game is good. For someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as lively as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like
No! No te sientas mal.
Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Oh no.
That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley.
Por el narrador, sí.
Button we shall have.
Pero... What?
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend...
Está en el siguiente juego, ¿te imaginas?
Monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards. The deduction therefore becomes
Dale skip. Le doy.
On for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing.
Seguro que si no le doy pasa algo.
Left until so much more than forever ago, which is why I say. The story and the choices, or what have you,
Oh,
and therefore,
¿se repite?
Becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until.
Vale, se repite. Bueno, pues le doy.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look,
Tendré que darle de nuevo.
Tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being...
¿Qué tal, chicos? ¿Cómo estáis?
No choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek
Sí, un poco zeta.
and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices.
¿Cuánto dura?
They are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are.
Bebo agua. Gracias, Arbolito.
First, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. Ah. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look.
Manifesto.
For exactly this sort of situation. And I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor.
¿Qué?
It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Tremendo beatbox, ¿eh?
Manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Well, sport, you really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I
Manifesto.
am educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite...
Ay, señor, sí. Cállate ya.
Back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of
la
time the
puerta!
button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Oh.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to.
Es el peso de los audios, seguro.
Isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again.
¿Por qué
I
no?
think the skip button... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
12 horas.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley.
The door is no more.
There's just...
Repito, la puerta ya no está.
And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than any... Oh, Stanley, you're back. Back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been
Oh,
here all that time, just sitting here.
2
A
semanas.
single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me
¿Qué es eso?
talking and you saying nothing. Would you
¿Qué es
say
eso?
that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't
¿Una
that
cámara o
seem
algo?
what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because...
Bueno. Se inicia el juego, ¿te imaginas?
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever
Un año.
been in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing
No
at
cambia nada más.
for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever...
Oh. ¿Ya no hay narrador? ¿Qué ha sido eso? Se ha oído algo, ¿verdad? Ahora creo que es eso. Qué mal rollo. Oh. ¡Coño, arbolito! Por Dios. No me está gustando nada.
Understand, the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human.
Sigue vivo.
But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable.
Aparece el intro de Skyrim. ¿Te imaginas? Venga. Oh. Se ha parado el ventilador.
The end is never the end, 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 is never
¿Qué es eso?
never the end, is 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 never
Cayendo agua.
is never the end, is never the end, is
¿Se va a acabar inundando esta habitación?
end, is never the end, is never.
Oh. Está cayendo más. ¡Oh, Dios! ¿Qué ha pasado? ¡Ah! ¿Luz? ¿Y esta silla? ¡Ah! ¿Yo? Digo. Se ven árboles. Me mantenga catálogo esto. Oh. Oh, esto no me gusta. Me quiero ir de aquí. Me quiero ir de aquí. Let me out. What? What? Fallout 5, ¿sí, no? I want to get out. ¿Cuántos años han pasado? Tremendo ending, por cierto, ¿eh? No esperaba nada de esto. ¡No! ¡He vuelto!
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Un juego de miedo. Al mono. No, no, no me suena. New content. ¿Más?
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Venga. No, no es un DLC. Es un juego nuevo con más cosas y ya está.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original
No.
Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley
¿Stanley Parable 2?
2.
¿Cómo? Stanley Parable 2.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Madre mía. Qué épico, ¿no? El Stanley Parable 2.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean?
Here's the sequel.
Stanley Parable 2. Now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
¡Oh, no! ¡Windows! Of painting. ¡Oh, no! Son capturas de pantalla de Windows con una foto de... ¿Qué es esto? Just the two of us. Parece una canción. O algo, no sé. Qué épico. Un jáparo. Old Bastard, New Hotness. 2. Hay un montón de doses ahí. Gracias a un Lucky por el host. El juego de las puertas. ¡Oh, Dios! ¿Te acuerdas? Uno más uno es 2, menos 1 es 1. Y sigue eso. Todos los botones de pausa son un 2 en número romano. Color rojo. Este disparado el 2. ¿Por qué hay una planta? Ideas para el logotipo. Está en Comic Sans y todo. Increíble. Me encanta este puto juego.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out.
Sí, ¿quién se ha llevado el rotulador rojo? Yo.
Than anything scientific or logical, really.
2. Stanley Parable 2. Las secuelas son buenas. Portal 2, Half-Life 2. ¿Acabo de escuchar algo? ¿O tengo sueño? Batman Arkham Asylum 2. Divinity Original Sin 2. Juegazo. Doom 2. Aladdin 2. Dark Souls 2. Y... tengo que terminarlo, Dark Souls 2 algún día. You are the sequel. Tú eres la secuela. No, no lo soy. Nuevo contenido. Nuevas mecánicas. Kiru 2. Porque Stanley para dos unidades. Porque dos es más que uno es mejor. No sabemos si la tercera parte abrirán los juegos. Pero cuando un clon. ¡No!
Here we are. Go on. Try
Oh,
out
Dios.
some of the new features.
Hay un señor allí. Vale, tranquilizador. El cubo. Está por allí. Agujero infinito. Hay unas plantas que pueden hacer la mitosis. Kino, inténtalo. Sí, voy. Me tengo que dice el nombre de la persona que está jugando. ¿Cómo? Por favor, no screenshots. Toma, he sacado una screenshot. Jódete. Una nueva oficina. El rojo es el nuevo naranja. Ray tracing, no. Se oye algo, ¿no? Bueno. La revolución vía bipartición. ¿Cómo? Yo sí, me asusto por mis propios sueños. Madre mía.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people.
Demasiado grande, demasiado pequeño.
My first
Justito.
addition to the game is this button, which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Ah. ¿Va a decir mi nombre de verdad? Uy, he hecho clic en la otra pantalla. No.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the
Vaya.
button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim to really see
No soy Jim.
the experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
¿Por
I
qué?
want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken,
Bueno, chicos, ahora soy Jim.
seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really?
A ver, he visto juegos que han hecho cosas parecidas, así que no me extrañaría.
Then please step forward and press the button.
Vale, soy Jim, chicos. Recuerden, soy un Jim normal y corriente teniendo una vida de Jim. ¿Qué pasa aquí? ¡Ah! Un botón que dice mi nombre. ¡Ah! ¡Ha dicho mi nombre! ¡Sí!
You see?
Increíble.
What a thrill! What a rush! That was you. The button
¡Ha dicho mi nombre!
Do it again.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim. I'm putting the Jim.
Soy Jim,
Otherwise,
chicos.
soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Tiene sentido. Volvamos, chicos, no quiero volverme un Jim de verdad. ¿O sí? No.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would
Epilogue?
actually save me the work of finishing this feature. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes. Yes.
Solo más.
So at the end of
Jimmy.
the- well, we'll figure it out
Ok.
later.
Que es Jim. Happiness. Venga, chicos. ¡Ah! ¡No! ¡Me han quitado el botón! ¡No! Gracias, Stanley, por el host. Me han quitado el botón. Ya no dice mi nombre. I am very triste. 2. Ahora soy Jim. Tenemos aquí también un dragoncito. No, tenemos 2 dragoncitos muy bonitos aquí ahora. Has mundial la configuración. Logro gratis. Luego iré para allá. No, de hecho voy a ir ya. Quiero mi logro. ¡Ah! ¡Ha vuelto el círculo de los saltos! ¡No, no me quedan!
Jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump.
Sí.
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Oh. ¿Logro gratis? Venga. It just works. I can't believe it's that simple. Consigue tu logro aquí mismo. Tira de la palanca, consigue tu nuevo logro y ya no hay más pasos. Simplemente funciona. Consigue el tuyo ahora mismo.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this
¿Qué va a
lever,
pasar?
and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology
Oh.
that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Gamers. No me dejas jalar la palanca. Esto es muy triste, ¿eh? Hay que quitarla con ganas, no me deja. Hasta es liquidito. Uy.
What else?
Saliste tu Deluxe and Cookers. Vale, quiero ver el cubo. Vamos a ver el cubo. Y solo cede la palanca. ¿Y esto? Ahora primero esto.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided.
No, me he cerrado.
I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you
Oh.
go with?
¿A cuál le doy, chicos? Aceite de masaje. ¿El blanco? Color cum, venga. Blanco cum.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
¡No!
Birthday step niece it is.
Me ha traicionado. Estoy muy triste.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on. A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've
¿Dónde está el cubo?
engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true.
¡Ah!
As long as you
¡El cubo!
hold the bucket, the many
¡Dame el cubo!
disappointing contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even...
¡Quiero el cubo!
You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive
And this
dissonance.
is a bucket. ¡Ey, Steman! Gracias por esa raid.
It's a much more convenient solution than
¿Cómo estáis?
actually
¿Qué?
redesigning the
Oh,
game.
¿estabais en número chat? ¿Cómo lo habéis pasado, chicos?
Pain in the ass that would be.
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis?
The bucket is the perfect solution.
Bucket.
Give it a try.
Sí, chicos, voy a agarrar el bucket.
Can you feel it? The glow of
Tengo el cubo.
even in the face
Tengo el
of
cubo, chicos.
despair
Con
must
bucket.
radiate
¡No!
through your body. And in fact,
Chico
can I
tigre,
say that I do
Karina,
believe
Mitrilo, Isdeman.
charisma as well.
¿Cómo estáis, chicos?
I think that just holding it
Bienvenidos al directo de hoy.
slightest bit more attractive.
Espero que lo paséis muy bien.
The
Karina, Mitrilo, muchas gracias por el follow.
on and on, didn't they?
Espero que disfrutes de mi contenido.
Await you in the Stanley Parable too.
Ay, no, no he prestado mucha atención de lo que ha dicho. Pero tengo un cubo. Tengo un cubo, chicos.
Does anyone give
Tiene
out
un nuevo
awards for
avatar.
most
Ten-
enjoyable
tendré que verlo en algún momento.
game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Vale. ¿Qué más cosas hay? ¿Salida? Ah, salida es por ahí, vale. No quiero salir todavía. Círculo de salto, coleccionables. Vamos a ver los coleccionables. Hay coleccionables en el juego.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the
But
Stanley
wait,
Parable,
there's more.
you'll run around
No.
carrying out these miniature Stanley figurines.
Te dejan la view, pero no voy a mirar mucho. Esto lo quiero jugar. Ah, ok.
Be no reward for
Es entendible.
collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Oh, Dios, qué creepy. Ah, no sé si quiero agarrar el coleccionable. Oh, qué creepy, por Dios.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game, and then they give you a big fancy
No, quiero jugar el
reward.
juego. Va bastante bien.
Absolutely tragic.
Yo por lo menos lo estoy pasando bastante bien. What? Agujero infinito. ¿Esto qué es Terraria?
Stanley, here's an idea that
Ahí tienes una estatua en el bucket.
never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Pizza de una fumet. ¿Cómo? ¿Me tiro por el agujero? ¿Sí? Venga. ¿Cómo,
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I
cómo sujetas el bucket si no tienes manos?
Since
Buena
you've
pregunta.
gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue on.
¡Oh!
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it
Quizá debería.
sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
Vale.
I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas.
Mejor. No sé si quiero saber lo que hay abajo. Si es que hay algo. And this is a bucket. Dear God. There's more. No. A ver si hay un subway ahí abajo. ¿Te imaginas? ¿Podría utilizar el bucket para conseguir el logro este de ahora? Este de aquí. No. Me han estafado con el logro, ¿eh? Me han estafado muy fuerte. Bueno. Una edición coleccionista de este juego en el bucket. Estaría genial. A ver qué hay por aquí. ¿Aquí hay algo nuevo? Ah, no, esto era lo del epílogo. Vale, nada. Este momento el DM. Vale. Configuración. Sí. Vale, no me digas que tengo que configurar algo de aquí. ¿No? Es mundial de la configuración. ¿Qué tengo? No sé. Creo que veo un logro de eso, ¿no? Ah, vale. Vale, tiene que hacer esto, creo. En todas las barritas de configuración, creo.
This is a man named.
Efecto Reborn. ¿Quedan más? No quedan más. Me han estafado, de nuevo. Un momento, ¿y el brillo? ¿No había una barrita para el brillo? Ah, no, parece que no. Configura todas las barras deslizantes del menú en todos los números disponibles. Uf. Vale, por aquí he estado ya. Pues creo que solamente me queda la salida, ¿no? Por aquí parece que no hay nada. Todos los números disponibles. Dios, qué pereza. No voy a hacer eso ahora. I feel très
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Move on now.
Más o menos. Necesito que configurarlos. Uff. No, gracias.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere.
It just works.
Do an experiment. I'll arrange
Todd Howard, ¿eres tú?
features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready?
No.
Here it is.
Bueno, un poco
I
sí.
give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Sí. Supongo.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work?
A bunch of puns mixed on a stupid game, básicamente.
Title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, this is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Stanley Parable 2. Chicos, lo hemos conseguido. Stanley Parable 2 han sido los amigos que hemos hecho por el camino. Si ahora vuelvo al menú principal, ¿qué pasa?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427.
Están los globos.
He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month.
¿Estará el packet? Buena pregunta.
And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
Stanley Parable 2.
Would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete...
Está todo lleno de globos.
Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came
No
to
es desarrollo.
regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped.
Llevan mucho menos de 9 años.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting. Perhaps he had
Me encanta.
missed a memo.
¡El cubo!
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Ya está, tengo el cubo. Esto no estaba aquí antes. Tengo el cubo, chicos. Ya no está lo del new content.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Tengo el cubo. No necesito nada más.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort far more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Me encanta cómo menciona a cada rato.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of
Que
happiness.
también hay coleccionables.
Tried. So,
Que no era broma. Que de verdad.
and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Es dinámica mismo, sí. Este juego es... Es... Something else. Ahora está cerrado. Bueno.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Todo es cosa del cubo. ¡Coleccionable!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another
El bucket sabe
under
cosas.
your belt.
Tremendo el bucket, ¿eh? Voy a necesitar un emote que sea Lirio con un cubo en la cabeza. O abrazando un cubo. Cualquiera me sirve. Que sea con un cubo. O tapándole la cabeza o encima de la cabeza. O abrazando el cubo, me da igual.
It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right.
Cubo.
The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
¿Por qué no quiero maceta pero en un cubo? También.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
¿Qué pasa si me paso el juego así? Con el cubo.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
El puto cubo me encanta.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears.
¿Cómo?
Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
Si te vas a con el cubo te sentirás tajepón. Sí.
What kinds of things does a bucket
Bucket, el verdadero protagonista.
do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never!
Never.
Squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
¿Eso es todo lo que hace el cubo? Cambia los diálogos y ya está.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible...
Oh, bueno, un poco tarde.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to
¿Cómo?
see every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on.
Stanley para el Ultra Deluxe y Stanley para el 2 con el cubo.
What? Wait. What was happening?
¿Qué ha pasado?
The door stopped. Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
¡No!
Even the facility itself
¡No! ¡Está
recognized the
cerrando!
incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, or go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No.
¡No!
Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized
Pero mi cubo.
he leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness...
Esto no es très bon.
Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Vamos a volver a reiniciar.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message...
Este es un mensaje para avisarte de que tengas cuidado con los mensajes pregrabados. ¿Cómo?
Please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
La segunda pausa. Viewing Finders Committee. Meeting today. In the meeting room. Me faltan todavía. Chicos.
Stanley lifted
Bucket.
the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Hay un globo aquí.
Stanley clutched
¿Es
the
la
bucket
mantenimiento en
tightly to
traste?
his chest
Creo que sí.
and the door on his left.
O por la derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Cubo.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Venga, sí.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
No. Vamos para abajo. con el bucket.
Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Esto es nuevo.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much.
Este maniquí no me gusta.
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before.
Oh,
I know
¿esto es nuevo por tener el bucket?
but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
La línea... ¡Ah! ¡Ha vuelto! La línea amarilla, el bebé. Todo esto del juego anterior.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
¡Ah! ¡Sí, la música!
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Oh, no.
Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it,
Lo he vuelto a decir.
Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No. No quiero renunciar a mi cubo. Oh. Oh. Eso no me gusta.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
No.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No, no voy a destruir el cubo,
Can you
chicos.
guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket.
No,
And then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
que no. Quiero apagarlo.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only
What the
one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see,
está pasando?
if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits.
Tengo
What
miedo.
other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of
Mi
Bucket
cubo.
Destroyer merchandise
Mi
the fans
bucket.
will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to
no.
the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give
Que
the
no.
fans what they want. Hurry and...
Oh. ¿Qué?
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding
Ah,
stories
mosquito.
about you. All of it
Quítate de mi cara.
Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Magnificent. Nobody will take my bucket. Nadie va a quitar el cubo. Nada. Oh, se ha reiniciado.
All of his co-workers were
Voy
gone.
a hacer una sin el cubo y quiero buscar algo.
Stanley? decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
Lo siento, Cubo. Vuelvo en la siguiente. Bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Que no sé si seguirá siendo igual o no.
By the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Es que me acuerdo cómo era, claro.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Nope.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about
Sausage
and
maker.
get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
Left. Vale.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right.
Pero bueno.
Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Oh. Vale.
No,
Eh.
no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley.
Spoiler.
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Y ya no están los globos.
All of his co-workers were
Me
gone.
esperé que viste 4 veces, sí, básicamente.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Meta el
sent
cubo.
a memo.
No, el bucket.
When Stanley...
Oh.
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game.
Sí, sigue siendo la secuela.
Completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's...
Se ha escuchado una puerta en Minecraft, ¿verdad? Oh no, los backrooms. Todo el mundo sabe lo que hiciste. Solamente le están aguantando para torturarte. What?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely.
No, arrastra el
that we'll
bucket.
progress by
Sí, lo sé.
starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Ah. Bueno. ¿Se ha vuelto a reiniciar?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse.
No importa.
Remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back?
¿Cuánto lore tiene este juego? Mucho,
See if we missed anything.
creo. ¿Te vuelvo al principio?
Aha!
Oh.
I knew we'd missed something. The story.
Oh, no.
Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
¿Qué está pasando?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed
Waiting
to be
room.
doing, how about this? You win!
Sí.
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
De otro subido de
Fair and square,
YouTube que,
and this
que
was
tengo
not
sueño
one
y
of
me
those
estoy tomando mi
situations.
vaso de leche.
Okay?
Ok, Lucky.
It out by whatever this place is. I don't care
But
what might happen
descansa.
this time. I have to restart. All right. I've got
Stanley
it
para el 2.
this time to make sure
Adventure Line.
I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Oh. Pues nada, sigo la línea. The line. ¿Qué hay por aquí? Ah, vale, nada.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably
diciendo?
conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right?
Quiero levantar a las 6:30.
Now, if my experience
Se
of
me olvidó hasta dónde iba la línea.
rests inside of your subjective experience
what?
of this
What?
office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Sí, la música. ¡Ah! ¿Cómo? La máscara de Dallas, del Payday. ¿Y subir por aquí? What? Ok.
Cut the music, go back, and look at that fur. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No,
¿Que mira qué?
no. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Esto me vuelve al principio. ¿Tengo que ir por aquí ahora? Bueno, lo seguiré, supongo. ¡Ah! ¡No!
No, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh. Oh, ya no es el Stanley Parable 2. Adventure Line.
You know what, Stanley? I
Vaya.
still forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
¿Dónde? Oh,
Now, yes.
qué oficina más grande, jodidamente enorme.
Just me and Stanley for
Estos son los backrooms.
a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever.
No sé qué camino estoy tomando ya.
I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not
Oh,
you
no.
again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
La línea. No, ha vuelto. Se ha ido.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay.
¿Vale?
So I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin.
¿Me quieres abrir una puerta ya, por favor?
Let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Vaya.
Hold up, what's this? The confusion ending.
Oh, Dios, sí que hay finales.
That's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My
Hace mucho tiempo Stanley muere.
simply being
No.
written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to.
Ah, vale, no, estos no son finales,
I want to
son...
forget what's going on. I
Es
don't
el
want to-
progreso de
I won't restart the
de
game.
este final.
Do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
What?
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Buena pregunta.
So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
¿Qué ha sido eso? What? ¿Qué ha sido eso?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ay, ¿cómo era para sacar el final que estoy buscando?
When Stanley came to a set of
No me acuerdo, ¿eh?
doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Era por aquí para abajo ahora? ¡Eh! ¿Coleccionables? Una caja grande, una sala grande, muchas cajas. escaleras, algo tiene que ver con las escaleras. Algo que es rojo y azul a la vez. Ok. Voy para abajo.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up?
Ninguno.
Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled.
Estoy un poco en bucle, sí. Un poquito.
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh no, estoy flotando.
He imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing?
¿Por qué una voz en mi cabeza?
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd,
Dios mío, ¿qué está pasando?
voice spoke to all people in their
Stanley
dreams.
tiene problemas, sí, sí.
Was that, of
Un
course,
poquito.
this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing
¿Cuánto habrá cobrado este señor por
take responsibility?
hablar tanto?
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just...
Se quedó sin
He
voz.
would prove it.
Bueno, a ver, ten en cuenta que la mitad del juego, posiblemente, bueno, aproximadamente, no lo sé, ya estaba grabada de antes.
And he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job.
La voz se parece a la de Liza. Pensé lo mismo al inicio del directo, dije lo mismo. Dije exactamente lo mismo.
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake
Oh,
me
no.
up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me
Oh,
I'm
no.
real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to
Esto me está
herself how
haciendo
lucky
un
she
poco.
was to be normal.
Un poco.
I am sane. I am in control of
Doy fe de ello.
I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Ah,
She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
vaya. Bueno, Stanley ha muerto, supongo. ¿O no?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along.
Esto creo que no hay mucho más que ver aquí. A lo mejor un cadáver y se larga. Está bien.
Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as
¿Qué pasa si me tiro por aquí ahora con el cubo?
clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone? Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay.
El bucket sabe demasiado.
Have been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley. What are you talking about? He screamed. You're a bucket! To this, the bucket furrowed its brow. No, said
¿Cómo funciona el ceño? ¿Qué ceño?
Wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then
¿Qué?
and could not conceive the ramifications of... No! Stanley screamed even louder this time.
¿Qué?
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing
Tremendo
it?
desarrollo tiene el cubo, el bucket.
Screamed. The bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power.
¿Cubo?
Things glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside.
¿Cómo?
How long were they sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days?
Vale, quiero destruir el cubo ahora.
Spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
¿Qué pasa si me lo llevo a destruir?
Bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind.
Por cierto, ¿de dónde ha sacado Stanley un cuchillo?
Stanley took the door on his left.
¿Alguien lo sabe?
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
No, la música otra vez no.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character.
Déjame destruir el bucket, por favor.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
¿Estoy lanzando el cubo? Quiero tirarlo.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows.
Pero...
That is its singular personality.
¡Destrúyelo!
Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one person...
Bueno, creo que reiniciar. Parece que no te deja. Y ya está. Una pena.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Va a ser que no.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Cuidado, no mientas. Si estás mintiendo ahora mismo, detente. Stop. Coleccionable.
Oh, well. Look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or... You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have...
Que sí, señor, que sí.
You can't
Déjame
go back
salir.
when you had no Figler Anlarines. None of us can.
Gracias. Vale, ¿ahora qué? Oh. What? Eso no es de... Eso no es de Berserk.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main...
Vale, este juego tiene muchísimo más contenido nuevo del que esperaba, realmente.
Pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Cuánto vale el juego? Creo que está por los 20 euros, más o menos.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Estoy buscando el final de Minecraft. Que había uno, pero no recuerdo cómo se sacaba.
Butterflies in his stomach. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
Creo que era por aquí, pero no sé si tenía que tirarme aquí abajo o seguir para allá.
You all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Voy a tirarme.
Someone you forgot. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why?
Sí, está por los 20 euros, más o menos.
Of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job...
A ver, tampoco me he puesto a buscarlos mucho. Han salido y ya está. No ha sido muy difícil.
But that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Roja o azul. Roja.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think...
Creo que tendría que haber ido por la otra puerta.
Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
¿Droga?
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Vámonos.
No! Oh, thank God. You
Ajá.
No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
No.
You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
Me da pena.
Situation correctly.
360, venga. Vaya.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to
Oh.
get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
Oh.
It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Posiblemente sea la parte más triste de este juego. Pero no, pero bueno, es un final. No sé.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it?
Sí, me he convertido en una hamburger. What the fuck?
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
¿Otra vez?
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Ahora recordando cuando Stanley consiguió todos los coleccionables. Esto ya no está. Oh, es por abajo.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stan.
Super creepy esto. ¿Qué? ¿7 de 6? Algo no me cuadra. ¿Cómo que 7 de 6? Ok.
Here was a second
Descansa.
Stanley. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Pero bueno, ¿por qué el bonk?
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, behind the boss's office. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to
Señor, déjame avanzar.
I'm doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Well, I
no?
can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
No, no pasó aquí.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
¿Cómo? ¿Un vídeo? ¡Oh, no! No puede ser. Thanks for watching. Todo por el narrador. Best Boy Narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Como me encanta este puto juego.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Dios mío.
And then
¿Cómo?
there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
Ah, bueno.
No,
¿Qué?
I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here and keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
No.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's
Ay, Dios
where I
mío.
made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video.
Quiero ese puto vídeo.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Next one. ¿Qué pasa si voy por aquí? Oh, no hay nada. Ok.
This was our second
What?
Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going.
No quiero volver a
What is there?
volver a esta sala.
All this.
¿Y esto?
Look, it's the terrible new content that we
El salto.
originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
¿Qué? Parece que se está trabando un
I'm
poco.
remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need
No
Stanley.
puede ser, es un morado.
Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just
Bien, bien, ¿cómo estás tú?
and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much.
No se retire.
Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Momentito. Vale. ¿Conoce el teléfono?
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages.
Esto es lo mismo de antes.
At any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was
Espera,
not the
sí, yo
correct way to
tengo
enter the
sueño.
room, and Stanley knew it
Están
perfectly well.
parabolas.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
Parabolas.
admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
¿Cómo va todo morado? ¿Cómo
Stanley
estás?
was so bad at following
Moradito bonito.
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Ala.
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for
Peligro, peligro en todos sitios.
convinced
No.
that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red
door. I still don't think we're communicating properly.
Que no.
Stanley walked. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here.
Vaya.
I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken.
Tampoco ha cambiado nada desde el juego anterior.
What you had wanted. Was it worth
Esta parte no ha cambiado nada.
out
Nunca la termino.
for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This
Una tercera opción.
leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a... Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest.
Un
I'm
dos.
looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley.
Necesito más furros.
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
¿Qué es esto? Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. Este eres tú, vaya. Yo realmente ese... No. Ni de coña. Friendly Tempty. No. Pobre Stanley.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Venga.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Sí.
Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
Morado
You
bonito
click the
tú.
button
No, yo no soy morado.
to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful
Un
game.
bebé.
All about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only
¿Cómo que no
becomes
mora?
clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Oh, Dios, es horrible.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Why not
The
both?
latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing.
No.
Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
¿Vamos a jugar otro juego? ¿Qué vamos a jugar?
Like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating.
¡Esto es nuevo!
What is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motive?
Ya no es el Minecraft.
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love
Oh, qué
this
genial.
game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see
¿Qué
what
pone
else
aquí?
is out there.
Esa puerta del Minecraft. ¡Lejía! Oh, Dios, qué bonito. Este es del Firewatch. Gran juego, por cierto.
Oh no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off.
¿Qué? ¡Ah! ¡No!
Thank goodness, Stanley, what a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Sinceramente no pensaba que fuesen a cambiar este easter egg.
I think this will be just the thing.
Antes era el Minecraft. Ahora es el Firewatch. Y ahora es el Rocket League.
See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this, I will be phenomenally impressed.
¿Dónde están los coches? ¿Dónde está la bola?
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
No jodas. Que sí que se puede. No puede ser.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better?
¡Oh, me he caído!
What are you doing?
No quería caerme. Oh, no. Ay, me han cambiado el easter egg. Antiguamente era Minecraft y era Portal.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Te ponía un puzzle de Portal, luego te ponía el Minecraft, o al revés, no me acuerdo. Y lo ha cambiado completamente. ¡Oh, Dios! Es el Stanley Parable original. Bueno, un poco más oscuro y roto. Sí, es el original. El mod de Half-Life 2. ¿Qué tengo que hacer aquí? Oh,
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
uy. Yo también puedo esperar, supongo. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
What?
simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
El cubo.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the
Vale,
bucket
voy a ver
tightly to his chest.
si saco algo nuevo y ya lo dejo.
Still no one was here.
Reinicia el juego por completo.
Warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Vale, que reinicie el juego por completo. Venga. ¿Así? ¿No? Vale, supongo que tengo que reiniciarlo saliendo del juego. Vale, ¿qué pasará ahora? Otra vez la hora. Es la 1:32. Momento. Antes de que empecemos, ¿puedo decir algo? Gracias por configurar la hora las 2 veces que iniciaste el juego. Mucha gente no se toma en serio este paso. Dejan el reloj en 12 y siguen adelante. Pero tú te tomaste el tiempo de configurarlo y te lo agradezco. Ahora sé que esta experiencia es importante para ti. Estás prestando atención. Ni siquiera te conformas de saber si la hora que pusiste es la correcta. ¿Sabes algo? Hagamos un trato. Como cooperaste, la próxima vez que inicies el juego y veas esta pantalla, pon tu hora favorita en el reloj. Adelante, elige la hora que quieras, aunque no sea la correcta. Te lo ganaste. Bien, ya te dejo de vuelvas al videojuego. Ok. Interesting. ¿Sigue siendo Stanley Parable 2? Me han dado un logro.
Co-workers were gone.
Hola de nuevo.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
El
chest
bucket.
and entered the door.
Tremendo bucket, ¿eh?
Still no one was here.
Ah, ya no está lo de reiniciar el juego.
Warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
Va a ser que no. Ok, sin bucket.
It's a bucket. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
El bucket lo sabía.
Bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
A ver, ¿qué puedo sacar por aquí?
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Sí. Vale,
Stanley and the bucket
vale, no he ido por aquí todavía.
large door
Vamos por aquí.
read, Mind control. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Una muerte violenta, ¿no?
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Pero mi bucket...
Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
¿Qué? ¿Qué? ¡Oh, Dios! ¿Qué es eso? Oh.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
Oh, no.
Farewell, Stanley.
Adiós.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
¿Qué? ¿Cómo?
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket.
¿Y mi cubo?
All buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious
No, bucket. El balde. El balde da la bienvenida a la gran exposición. Te encuentras ante el precipicio del conocimiento. Al igual que un balde, la mente humana suele estar vacía como una caverna, pero gracias a la exposición que tienes enfrente, la mente se llena, se enriquece, se exalta. El conocimiento del balde y su historia es el único conocimiento que tenemos en verdad. ¿Llevarás contigo al mundo lo que aprendas aquí? ¿Aceptarás con mente abierta la información de esta muestra? ¿Qué podría desafiar tu modo de ver el universo? ¿Cambiarás tu vida y la de tus seres queridos como...
How arrogant it was for Stanley to take
Vaya.
a bucket like this and to claim it for his own. Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket
25
is far
baldes.
more noble than Stanley will ever
Ahí hay más de 25.
be in life?
Un balde con 2 asas. Y hay una puerta. Hay un camino. Balde infernal.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Ah, el balde colgante. Oh, es el agujero sin fondo. El pozo sin fondo. Ha vuelto. Increíble este juego. El balde antiestrés. Presentada sin comentarios. Increíble. Bueno, tocará tirarse al agujero, supongo. ¡Mi cubo! ¡Oh! ¡Oh!
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Vaya. Los baldes se apoderarán del mundo. Al parecer. Bueno, lo dejo ya. Ha estado genial el juego. Vale. A ver a quién tenemos por aquí para hacerle una raid. Técnicamente si muere Stanley también moriría el balde. Sí, supongo. Tenemos a varias personitas. Tenemos a Diego, Pichu y Shiny. ¿Con quién vamos, chicos? Supongo que puedo hacer un random y ya está. En plan... Hago así. Diego... Shiny, Pichu. Y vamos con Pichu. ¡Oh, Dios! Está fuertísimo. ¿A dónde te pido dibujo por Paint y que tengo puntos? Oh, no. A ver... Ahí está. Bueno, chicos, perdón por haber hecho el directo tan tarde, pero gracias por venir. Vale. Ahí. Intentaré hacer directo de nuevo pronto. Ahora que tengo más tiempo, ya estoy libre, ya puedo hacer directos tranquilamente. Y nada, espero que lo paséis bien con Pichu. Es un poquito tarde. Ay. Aprovecharé para dormir. Los que seáis de España o para los que sea tardecido ya, id a dormir también. Y descansad todos, chicos. Espero que paséis una muy buena noche. Y nos vemos en el próximo directo, que será, no sé si mañana, pasado, no lo sé. Ya avisaré por Twitter. Buenas noches, chicos.